Hello and welcome everyone. I am Professor Nikki Eshtiaqi from RMIT University in Melbourne, Australia, and it is real pleasure to have you here. You are watching Innovaticals, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. At Innovaticals, we are a passionate network of university professors, researchers, students, and professionals. We come together to share our lived experiences, skills, and knowledge with the goal of helping student, researcher, and early career professional grow in their career and feel more fulfilled and satisfied in both their personal and professional lives. As you know, in our previous episode, we have been exploring the key element of success and flourishing. We talk about the importance of the strategic thinking, a powerful skill that helps us face an ever-changing world and overcome challenges with confidence. We also discuss how by understanding our strength and weakness, we can set realistic goals and achieve them more effectively. Another important topic we covered was emotional intelligence. This is a key skill that helps us understand ourselves better, recognize our emotion, and connect and communicate more effectively with others. Emotional intelligence plays a vital role in building a stronger relationship and leading a meaningful life. These are all essential tools on the path to success, personal growth, and fulfillment. If you haven't already seen those episodes, I highly recommend checking them out. They will help you build a strong foundation for today's topic. Today we will be focusing on a very important part of the emotional intelligence, independence. So, what is independence? In a simple term, independence means being able to make a decision, plan your activities, and handle your responsibilities on your own. Independent people are self-reliant. They trust their own judgment and can move forward without needing constant support or approval from others. However, this doesn't mean that independent people never listen to others. In fact, they often seek advice or opinion to make a better informed decision. Asking for help or gathering information is not a sign of dependence. It is part of making wise and thoughtful choices. True independence means being able to function without needing someone else to meet your emotional needs. Independent people are emotionally strong. They don't rely on others to feel good about themselves, and they don't cling to others for support or validation. In this episode, we will explore what independence looks like in everyday life, why it matters so much, and how you can strengthen your own sense of independence to drive both personally and professionally. I will also be providing references in the video description, so feel free to check them out if you would like to read more or use this idea in your own work. To understand independence better, let's now explore some real-life experience of the student at university. These stories will help us to see how independence, or lack of it, can shape a student's personal and academic journey. Let's begin with Sally. Sally is a postgraduate student in environmental engineering. When she began her research degree, she quickly realized that postgraduate study was very different from her undergraduate experience. There was no detailed weekly schedule, no one checking up on her progress every day. She had to take charge of her own learning and manage her time carefully. At first, it was overwhelming, but Sally took the initiative to set her own weekly goals, create a study routine, and reach out to her supervisor and peers when she needed advice. She didn't wait for someone to tell her what to do. She made a decision for herself and planned her progress one step at a time. Over time, she built the confidence to present her idea, defend her argument, and even lead collaborative projects. Sally is a great example of someone developing independence. She became more self-reliant, took ownership of her work, and still stayed open to feedback and collaboration. She shows us that independence is not about doing everything alone, but about trusting yourself, making thoughtful decisions, and being responsible for your own growth. Now, let's look at a very different story. Samantha is a friendly and outgoing student in her second year of the college. She has a wide circle of friends and people generally like her, but unlike Sally, Samantha struggles with taking responsibility for her academic work. She often misses classes and relies on others to give her notes. She tends to form a friendship with a classmate, mostly when she needs help with the assignment or preparing for exam. Samantha finds it difficult to study on her own and usually convinces others to walk her through the material. Throughout high school, her parents and tutor did a lot of work for her. Because of this, Samantha never really learned how to study independently. Now, even the simplest assignment feel overwhelming when she has to do them by herself. Samantha's story shows us what happens when someone becomes too dependent on others. She hasn't developed the confidence or skill to manage her study on her own, and she avoids situations where she might be left without help. This kind of emotional and academic dependence can create serious challenges, especially as she moves into workplace, where independence and responsibility are expected. So, what can be done to help someone like Samantha? Change can be difficult, especially when someone has relied on others for a long time, but it is not impossible. With support and encouragement, people like Samantha can start building independence by learning basic study skills, setting small goals, and gradually taking more ownership of their tasks and decisions. As we see from the Sally and Samantha's independence is more than just doing things alone. It's about having the confidence and responsibility to manage your own life, make an informed decision, and grow into the person you want to become. And it is never too late to start. Now that we have seen two different student experiences, let's take a moment to redefine what independence really means in our own personal and professional lives. Independence is the ability to stand on your own 2 feet. It is closely connected to assertiveness, the confidence to speak up for yourself, to make a decision, and to take a responsibility for those decisions. At its core, independence means saying, "The buck stops with me." It's about taking charge of your own life, being your own person, and finding your own path, even if it is not always the most popular or well-traveled one. This is not always easy. People who are constantly looking for approval from others or who are afraid of disagreement or conflict often find it very difficult to be truly independent. But to grow, we must be willing to say, This is what I believe is right, and I am willing to take the responsibility for it, even if others do not agree. Of course, we must also give others the same space to be independent. Independence is not only something we develop in ourselves, it is something we respect in others too. Now we should be honest. Independent action always carries some risk. You won't always get it right. Sometimes you might say the wrong thing or make a mistake. That's part of being human. What matters is how you respond to those moments. Learn from them, forgive yourself, don't let mistakes stop you from moving forward. Often the consequences are not as big as we fear. The world won't end because you made a choice that didn't turn out perfectly. When making decisions, weigh the options carefully. Think about the benefit of each choice and also consider the worst-case scenario. You might be surprised, most of the time, the worst that could happen is not that bad at all. And here it is something inspiring to remember. Nobody gets it right 100% of the time. In fact, some of the most successful people in history failed many times before they succeeded. Think of Thomas Edison. He tested thousands of designs for the electric light bulb before finding the one that worked. When asked about his failure, he said he hadn't failed. He had just found thousands of the ways that didn't work. Or think of the great leaders and public figures who face major setbacks, even public failures, yet come back stronger and made a lasting impact. Making mistakes is a part of the journey. What people remember in the end are not your failure, but your growth, your courage, and your achievement. So, as you reflect on your own journey, whether you are more like a Sally or Samantha, ask yourself, am I taking ownership of my decision? Am I afraid to take a risk because I might be wrong? Am I allowing myself the space to grow from mistake? Independence is not a destination. It is a mindset, one that can be developed step by step. As we learn to trust ourselves, take a thoughtful action and keep moving forward, even when the path feels uncertain. As you see, independence is a deep and important topic, one that affects how we learn, work, and grow as individuals. That's why we are not rushing through it. In the next episodes, we will continue exploring this topic in more detail and share more real-life stories and practical strategy that can help you build independence in your own journey. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss what's coming next. I would also love to hear from you. Have you had experience like Sally or Samantha that help you learn to be more independent? What challenges have you faced? What helped you take charge of your own learning and career? Please feel free to share your thoughts and stories in the comments. Your voice matters, and your story might help someone else who has on a similar path. Here at Innovatical, we are all about supporting each other to grow and thrive, whether you are a student, a researcher, or a career professional. We believe in your potential, and we are here to help you succeed and feel fulfilled in what you do. Thank you so much for being here today, and I am really looking forward to seeing you again in our next episode. Until then, take care, stay curious, and keep growing.